In this problem it says assume the lines that appear to be tangent are tangent, which means that this line PQ is tangent. It only intersects at Q, which we call the point of tangency. O is the center of the circle, and we're trying to find the value of x right here. It also tells us the measure of angle P is 12. So I'm going to fill that in to the best of my ability. And remember, where a radius meets a tangent, so right here at this angle, that's always going to be a right angle. So I'm going to fill in a right angle here. Now, if you ignore the circle completely, you see a triangle. And we know that angles in a triangle add up to equal 180. So I'm going to add 90 plus 12 plus angle x, and all that together gives me a grand total of 180. So I can add 90 plus 12 together and subtract them from 180, and I'll find out that x is equal to 78 degrees. So this is 78 degrees right here. In the next one, it tells us that all of these segments here are tangent to circle O. And it says that JA is 9 units long, and AL is 10, and CK is 14. Well, this is what I call the party hat rule. Every hat that's formed here, even if it's looking kind of strange, is going to have the same length on each side. So if one side's 10, the other side's 10. If one side's 9, the other side is 9. If one side is 14, the other side is 14. When it asks us to find the perimeter of the triangle, JKL, we need to add up the lengths of all the sides. And you can do it piece by piece, or you can find the length of one side first and then find the length of another side next. But you just need to add all these up, which is 66. In the next one, we are going to set up an equation. We're going to multiply this part times this part, so 10 times x. We're going to multiply this part times this part, so 15 times 8. 15 times 8 is 120. So I have 10x equals 120, which means that x is equal to 12. In number 51, it asks us to find the value of the variable, which is x in this case, if the two lines are parallel to each other. So, if the two lines are parallel to each other and we're looking at angle 1 and angle 5, those are called corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent, and congruence means equal to each other. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 5. Now I'm going to substitute in the algebraic expressions. Then I'm going to solve for x by subtracting 2x from both sides, and then subtracting 38 from both sides, and then dividing by 2, or by 3, sorry. So I get x equals 2. For number 52, it tells us the measure of angle DAB, so this one right here, is 115 degrees. And it asks us for the measure of angle BCD, so this one over here. In parallelograms, opposite angles like A and C are congruent. So the measure of angle BCD is 115. Number 53, LMNO is a parallelogram. NM is x plus 15, and OL is 3x plus 5. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. Congruent means they're equal to each other. So I can set these two sides equal to each other and solve by subtracting x from both sides and subtracting 5 from both sides. and then dividing by 2. So x equals 5, but it also wants us to find NM and OL. So I'm going to substitute back into these original equations. I got x equals 5, and 5 plus 15 is 20. So this side's going to be 20. We already talked about how these are going to be congruent, but if you do 3 times 5 plus 5, you get 20 as well. So we get 20 for NM, 20 for OL, and 5 for the value of x. Now number 54, it says that DH is x plus 3, and it says that HF is 3y. It also says that GH is 4x minus 5, and HE is 2y plus 3. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky problem, maybe one of the trickier ones on the test review here. First thing you need to remember is that diagonals in a parallelogram bisect each other, which means that this is congruent to this. So x plus 3 is equal to 3y, but also 4x minus 5, GH, is equal to 2y plus 3. Now we need to solve for x and for y. This is a system of equations. I've got two variables in each of these equations, and I can't solve either of these equations for one variable without having another variable in it. So I'm going to have to solve this like a system of equations. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I'll get x equals 3y minus 3. And then I'm going to substitute that into this equation where I see the x. So I'm going to have 4 times 3y minus 3 minus 5 equals 2y plus 3. I'm going to distribute the 4. I'm going to combine like terms. Get all the y's together and move the numbers so they're together. So subtract 2y from both sides and add 17. Divide both sides by 10 and you find out that y is equal to 2. So if y is equal to 2, what's x going to be? Well, I just have to substitute a 2 in for y in this equation. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So my x value is 3. X is 3 and y is 2 in number 54.